It's happening, gang. We knew it. The Democrats opened up a Pandora's box that would guarantee their own demise. And here we are. We got news of red state DAs already preparing to indict one Joe Biden. We're going to see the bombshell announcement made on Fox News. We're going to see what one Florida grand jury has already decided on Biden. And make sure to stick with me to the very end of this video when we'll find out how it's now open season officially on Democrat politicians. You're not going to want to miss this. House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer's revealed that at least 2 GOP state prosecutors are looking into ways to charge President Biden and the Biden crime family in the wake of the unprecedented prosecution of President Trump by Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg. Comer, who's leading a House Republican investigation into Joe Biden's role in his family's international business dealings with China and Ukraine, made the revelations on Fox and Friends, and here's what he had to say.
And then Kevin McCarthy is saying he's going to hold Alvin Bragg accountable. He tweeted this out. Alvin Bragg is attempting to interfere in our democratic process by invoking federal law to bring politicized charges against President Trump, admittingly using federal funds while at the same time arguing that the people's representatives in Congress lack jurisdiction to investigate this farce. Not so. Bragg's weaponization of the federal justice process will be held accountable by Congress. How do you plan to do that?
Well, we're going to be having a call with McCarthy later this week, Jim Jordan and myself, and we're going to try to figure out a path moving forward. This is very serious. Alvin Bragg doesn't even know where his funding comes from, but he gets federal funding. And that's where it falls into the jurisdiction of the House Oversight Committee. The weaponization of his office is how it falls into both the Judiciary Committee and the Select Committee on the weaponization of the Department of Justice. So we're not going to stop on this. Nothing changed. We believe that he's overstepped. And I'll tell you one of the things that I don't think's been picked up a lot that's going to be a problem. And I had 2 calls yesterday, one from a county attorney in Kentucky and one from a county attorney in Tennessee. Mm-hmm. They were Republican, obviously, both states are heavily Republican. They want to know if there are ways they can go after the Bidens now. And they've opened up a can of worms. They've set precedents now that we can't go back on. And now we're going to see a judicial system that's already bogged down with doing what they're supposed to do, and that's going after real criminals, people that are committing real crimes, burglaries, rape, robberies, things like that. And now you're going to start seeing ambitious political people like Alvin Bragg try to make a name for themselves and go after big pie-in-the-sky federal cases. Okay, right. And it's just not a good path that we need to go forward on in our judiciary.
Congressman.
Now, what he just said there is absolutely key for why this is ultimately going to blow up in the Democrats' face. I want to play an interview once again for you with a Democrat voter on a Fox panel, and they asked her what she thought about Trump's indictment. Listen carefully to what she said.
I was just surprised. They were building this and building this. I mean, this is what Bragg ran on. There has to be something big. And quite frankly, look, I'm not a fan of Donald Trump, but I was expecting more. I mean, this is nothing new. Every president, everybody who gets ascended to political power has some sort of skeleton in their closet, right? So I frankly wasn't that surprised.
Yeah, but, well, this is new. Porn star payoff is kind of new in presidential politics.
But when they're talking about falsifying business documents, I feel like that happens.
Samantha.
Now, that's huge. Now, keep in mind that was a Democrat voter. But even Democrats are saying, hey, wait a minute, politicians. If you're going to start indicting each other, why are you stopping with Trump? I mean, certainly he's not the only one of you who's alleged to have done something wrong here. Why is he the only one who's getting indicted? You see, this is the biggest risk the Democrats are taking here. They're assuming, they're betting on their voting base will give them a pass in all of this. The Bidens, the Clintons, the Pelosi's, the Schumers, they're all presuming that their constituents are so rabidly anti-Trump that they'll look past the obvious glaring discrepancy that only one person in the whole of the seedy world of politics, only one person is getting indicted. But surely that's a permanent that's not a permanent posture to prosecute from. The GOP is going to strike back. And then what do the Democrats say with that? How are they going to remotely make the plausible case? The Republicans they're politicizing the law. When even according to the latest CNN poll, they found most Democrat voters believe the Democrats are doing precisely that to Trump. How do you think they're going to get away with that when the prosecutorial bell starts tolling for them? Don't you think a supermajority of voters are going to say, hey, dude, that's what you get? You did precisely the same thing. You started it. And that's what we're beginning to see here with these Republican prosecutors and DAs. They're now openly talking about taking Biden down. Wait until you see what's coming out of Florida. Florida grand jury just found Biden guilty. This is going to blow your mind. But first, gang, a huge thanks to all of your wonderful feedback and ideas for my new guidebook about how to escape the Great Reset. Thousands of you reached out sharing what you want to see addressed in this book. And I believe, gang, this book is just more necessary now than ever. My team and I are reading through all of your comments, your emails, your messages, and it's clear that patriots like you all over the world are rejecting globalism in full force and have found creative ways to live out a life of faith, family, and freedom apart from our ruling elite's agendas. I'm in the final stages of drafting this guidebook, and I know you and your family will greatly benefit from these resources. So I'm also including a list of the news sites I personally get my news from, so you feel optimistic every day with the truth. If you want a copy of this guidebook, just comment down below or email me at steve@turleytalks.com, and I'll update you soon about when it'll be released. A Florida grand jury is explicitly accusing the Biden administration of facilitating, quote, forced migration, sale, and abuse of foreign children through its criminally negligent immigration policies. It's being reported that after a 5-month investigation conducted at the request of Governor Ron DeSantis, the statewide prosecutor's office released a scathing 46-page report that denounces the Department of Homeland Security's Office of Refugee Resettlement for leaving thousands of vulnerable migrant children with unvetted, quote, sponsors and then failing to conduct oversight of their welfare. The statewide grand jury concluded that the Biden administration was indeed encouraging children to, quote, undertake and or be subjected to a harrowing trek to our border only to ultimately abandon them. The Florida grand jury found that the Biden administration has indeed lost track, get this, they've lost track of more than 20,000 children who've crossed the border illegally. The grand jury suggested the Biden administration's corrupt policies amount to nothing less than criminal child neglect. Now, before the indictment of Trump, they would have left it at that, in that this grand jury does not have an obvious jurisdiction over Biden. But now, with the Manhattan DA's trumped-up charges, now all bets are off. And this is where Paul Sperry, writing for the New York Post, comes in. He's arguing that the GOP, as a matter of political survival, the Republican Party, particularly at the level of conservative DAs in deep red districts, they're going to have to unleash a torrent of prosecutions against Democrats deliberately to settle political scores. And he lists just, the tip of the iceberg here of potential indictments and cases. The Clinton Foundation. Remember, the corrupt Clinton Foundation is headquartered in Little Rock, Arkansas, where the county DA is a hardcore Republican. What if he were to start, getting a little creative with tax fraud law when it comes to the Clinton Foundation? You think we might see some indictments coming there? Well, if he started looking into where the Clintons got the money from building the Clinton Presidential Library, I think you're guaranteed to see indictments. Or how about Joe Biden's brother, Jim? He's gotten into some hot water in deep red states like Tennessee and Florida for allegedly defrauding healthcare companies. What about Nancy Pelosi's blatant, obvious insider trading? I wonder if a red state DA would be interested in investigating that. The point that the New York Post is making here is that while in the past, local authorities always were dissuaded from pursuing indictments against national politicians, Bragg and the Democrats have just crossed the Rubicon. They've removed that taboo. So now it's open season, and red states are going to, as a matter of survival in a post-indictment era, they're going to have to start indicting Democrats. And this is the key everywhere. And it looks like we're about to see them go scorched earth here. It is now open season on federal politicians. This is what the Democrats unleashed And now it looks like it's about to blow up in their faces. As always, gang, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. You'll definitely want to check out my latest video on a massive backlash against Anheuser-Busch as Bud Light's trans activist campaign backfires. Duh, you think so? Get woke, go broke. You're not going to want to miss it, so make sure to click on that link, and I'll see you over there. God bless.